a normal conversation. Relax. Relax.
Well, you guys have done it a few times, you know? Think back to your first time.
Well, it is recording right now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So, yes. Welcome, guys, to episode number 6. I'm your co-host, or I am your host, Jason Manarinter.
And I'm your co-host, David Liu.
And I guess, Mel, what would you be?
I'm your guest today.
You're our guest?
Yeah,
Yes.
I guess so.
She's our guest speaker.
You're a guest speaker. Well, that's exciting. We're going to be talking about Airbnbs today.
Yes.
The good old Airbnbs. We got into Airbnb about last year, and we went pretty hard on it. I would say.
Yeah, we went from like 2 to like 8
Yeah.
in the span of like...
Well, we had one in 1 month. Then that went into 2, and then I think we finished off with 7 or 8 or something.
Yeah.
What was your first Airbnb?
My first Airbnb was
Verve.
The Verve, and the Verve has 53 cases right now. They had a huge outbreak in cases of COVID.
Yes.
So they had to temporarily shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was the Verve, and that building actually was pushing really hard to keep Airbnb during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only building I know that fought to allow Airbnbs during COVID.
Yeah. I think it's because a few of the board members had Airbnbs as well. So
Yeah.
they were the ones that were advocates for it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of investors in there, and they didn't want to stop the Airbnbs.
Mm-hmm.
And just so you guys know, there is no link between the cases
And Airbnb.
and Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yes. Reported by the Alberta Health Services.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Melissa will probably share a story about that later on.
dealing with that.
Dealing with that.
Yeah, that was interesting for sure. That was my first experience dealing with the media and seeing how, they change kind of stories and stuff like that. But yeah, it was pretty.
It was pretty
Intense.
You were
Yeah.
pretty stressed out there for a couple of days.
I was,
like, oh my God, nothing's even happening. But before we get into that, let's start talking about Airbnbs and the different types of Airbnbs that we've done. We've had a lot of conversations in the last year about Airbnbs. So a lot of people ask us how to get into it, if we own them, if we rent them, if we manage them. What would you say we do, guys?
I would say we've done a couple different ways of going about it. We've managed properties.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have like leased out properties and then kind of, I guess, subletted it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like you guys have owned some of the properties as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. It's about 30%, 33% each.
Yeah.
That we own, we manage, and we also lease to operate.
Yeah, so we manage it where we don't have anything to do with the property.
And the owner the owner owns it.
Yeah, the owner owns it, and Melissa manages it.
Mm-hmm. And then they assume pretty much all of the expenses, and they kind of have more of a risk. The owner would have more of a risk with that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they deal with everything.
Yeah.
So
A lot of people, I feel, aren't even aware of the benefits of Airbnb. I know for me, I was very hesitant about it. And when I got my hands on the first one, I was like, I could see why people grow this business.
Yeah.
It's a very exciting and new business that allows you essentially to be like a hotel owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A partial hotel owner.
Yeah.
It's very exciting because every single booking you get, it's just kind of like, wow, like everyone has their own story, and you know, when you're managing like 5 or more properties, it's something every day that's happening. So it's kind of like keeps you engaged, and like you keep seeing the progress of it, which is what I liked about it.
We right now are down to one. Is it 1 or 2 Airbnbs?
It's 1 right now.
Yeah.
Well, I think because the verb is going to allow us to
Go back
in.
Oh, really?
Well, then we'll have 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll have
crazy.
3, but tentatively they stopped it
Yeah.
short term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks they said, and then I guess we'll see, but who knows how long the COVID outbreak is going to really last for in the building.
Yeah. Yeah, we went from 8, and then we had 2 pending in May.
Before we were aiming to almost do about 10, 11 properties
For Airbnb.
for Airbnb before the Stampede. So
Oh, yeah.
we had them all ready to go pretty much. We were prepping them, and that's something we'll talk about also. Yeah, we had 10, almost, I think 10, 11 ready to go. And man, COVID just annihilated.
Definitely rocked our plans on growing the Airbnb business, but we learned a lot.
We
Oh,
learned a
yeah.
lot. We still recommend it in the future. Right now, definitely just put a hold onto it. And yeah, now we're at 1.
Hanging in there. That 1.
What would you say has changed, Mel, since you do most of the managing of it? What would you say has changed since COVID?
I think so much has changed since COVID. One of the biggest things probably that I've noticed the change in is the types of people that are booking pre and post COVID. I think pre-COVID is like, you know, travelers, young professionals, people traveling for business, families and stuff like that. Post-COVID, we at first got hit with like a lot of like delinquent kind of people who were
Transient.
booking. Yeah, transient people who were
Crazy people.
They were just, yeah, it was a learning curve for sure on how to screen the guests a lot better, and you know, make sure that people have reviews and that kind of thing, because we saw that there was like some criminal activities and stuff like that was, you know, just crazy people who wouldn't check out, you know, had to threaten to call the cops on people for trespassing because they wouldn't like leave our properties. And I think that the main reason that changed is because, well, for one, no one's really traveling during the pandemic, and a lot of the hotels shut down. So I think a lot of the people that did those kind of activities moved to Airbnbs.
Yeah, and then that's when a lot of the condo boards actually shut them down.
Yeah, they had a lot of problems.
Yeah.
It's a learning process.
They actually in Edmonton, I think 3 to 4 months ago, a bylaw got passed that
Yeah.
actually impacted all of Alberta.
Yeah, provincially.
Yeah. And that was a law that got passed where it said something in the bylaws where you weren't allowed to do Airbnbs anymore short term if you had this specific wording in the bylaws, in the condo bylaws, which a lot of condos had. So it was like at that point, a lot of condos also just completely banned it right away.
And prior to that, it wasn't like they weren't able to be banned, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it was a gray area still.
Yeah. Like there was something in the Condominium Act that protected landlords from the condo board to stop them from not doing short-term rentals, because like at the end of the day, if someone needs to rent out their property and they can't do it long-term and they have to force it to do short-term, then they couldn't stop them from doing that, because otherwise they could lose the property.
Where were we at?
oh yeah, what's changed since COVID?
Oh yeah, so yeah, because you kind of took the lead on in getting into the management, and you saw the progression of it. I know in January, February, we were getting bookings in July already.
Yeah. Our Stampede week was pretty much already set and booked for a lot of our units.
And how much were they around?
A night?
Yeah, during during Stampede.
During Stampede, it was $300 a night.
Yeah, I think that was a minimum
Per
$300.
unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
320 to 350, I think, is what I saw.
Yeah.
And when you tell those numbers to people, they don't believe it.
No.
But it's very accurate because, I mean, if you look at hotels during that time, they're $400 or $500.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And then Airbnbs, like, you get 2 bedrooms or you could sleep up to 6 people. So $300 a night is not even unrealistic.
Yeah.
And a kitchen and a balcony, right? Parking.
Yeah.
And most of our units were pretty close to Stampede too,
Yeah.
right? So how was that transition during COVID, and what are you guys like? What are we doing now, I guess, with the tenants and screening?
For screening now, I think, well, first, we don't allow instant book at this moment just because it is a little bit complicated.
So what is instant booking for people that don't know that?
So instant book is where people on Airbnb can just book instantly. You don't have to approve them. You don't have to ask them any questions.
And I think it's also, we had it was okay to book with no reviews.
Yeah. We didn't really consider that at first just because we didn't have any issues. But yeah, definitely reviews is super important, at least just one.
Yeah.
Or if they have a bad review, then it's, you have to have a conversation with them, like why did this happen?
And verified accounts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a problem that we had. And I'm not sure why Airbnb lets people on without like a verified ID. I think it should be mandatory, but one of our guests, they actually didn't have a verified ID and they were like a troublemaker, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's usually the case. Like the first incident we had with like a break, like when people stole stuff and like broke into the storage was a non-verified account, and it was a bit sketchy, like to begin with. Like the guy had like a hat and glasses on in his profile picture, and he wasn't verified. He was only booked for one day. Like came down from Edmonton, and he had an unverified account, and then like that's when all this stuff actually happened. It's like you get those type of people.
Yeah, and it was really weird because during his booking, he extended his stay and then he changed his name to Louise. His name was Luke, and then he changed it to Louise.
He changed his name midway.
I was like, is this the same guest? Like, what is happening? So at that point, they're not really who they say they are.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's probably easy to have an unverified ID with Airbnb. I don't know how hard like they screen it, but I mean, if it's just a photo, right? I mean, that's why I think the reviews for sure is a good thing.
And just asking kind of what the purpose of their trip is, and although people can lie, but just even having that conversation with people.
For the Airbnbs, I found also there's actually more guests within Canada. Did you see that? Like when I was first watching it a lot, it's all within Canada mostly, and there's probably 20% that travel overseas.
Yeah,
Right?
I would agree. I would say majority is within Canada. I think we've had a few international, but definitely majority, is within Canada.
It's a lot of people going to Banff, I guess.
Yeah.
Banff. And what people don't realize too is there's a lot of what do you call those at the BMO Center?
Conferences.
Yeah, conferences and stuff that attract people within Canada, right? Like the car show.
Yeah, there's a lot of business stuff going on, trade shows.
What would you say if right now for Airbnbs?
Where people are coming from?
Well, where people are coming from, and are they? I would say they are still profitable. A little bit more, but not as much as we wanted to, right?
Yeah. It's average.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead, Dave.
it's average, but I feel like it's better than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, because we did have to convert them to long-term rentals. But what would you say to someone that wanted? What would you guys say to someone that wanted to do an Airbnb right now?
Hold off.
Hold up,
Yeah.
Mel.
Yeah, I would also say probably hold off right now. It might be a little bit different actually if they were doing like a house Airbnb as opposed to a condo.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because all of our places are condos downtown.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so maybe a house might be a little bit safer with COVID. And
That's the hard thing with COVID, because for people that are doing Airbnb with a house, it's less strict, right? When you have a condo, you have the neighbors, right? You have the neighbors, you have the condo bylaws, and you have what else? Like
You have a huge common area.
you have a common area, and then
Concierge.
for them
the
to buzz
security
in.
of the building.
Yeah.
Oh, the security now is crazy.
Yeah.
The amenities.
Yeah.
Everything.
So like to even get someone in the Airbnb, they have to buzz into the main lobby to get into the door, and if they don't make it on time to
miss the elevator.
Yeah.
right? Like so many crazy stories where like I can't get in. It's like, but I feel we don't have any houses yet, but I feel a house might be different at this time because there's less rules and you're in more control.
I feel like it would just be more simple.
I think we have one coming up though that we're gonna try.
Yeah. I'm still working on that one. But
Yeah.
it'll be coming soon.
Yeah.
It'll be sweet. It has a hot tub.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be a good selling feature for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a pretty nice house.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
pretty nice. It's like a $800,000 house that we're going to be converting into Airbnb.
Are you guys worried about parties at that house?
I don't know.
Not really.
I guess the thing that kind of gives us some confidence is the insurance that Airbnb offers. So at least you have like $1 million liability. But
Yeah, and that's something I wanted Mel to dive into, was talk about the Airbnb claims that we've done. We've done a few.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, how is the process of them, and are you able to get your money back? Because people think that they don't, and I always say, yeah, it's pretty simple. Airbnbs, we haven't had any real issues about doing claims on them, right? But you definitely have more experience on that. So, do you want to share a story or something of the claims?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So our first claim that we did was at one of our first Airbnb that I started managing anyways. And
Which one?
Which one was it?
the keynote one.
Okay.
Okay.
And what happened with this claim was that the guest, I messaged them for checkout at 10 a.m. as the cleaner was there, and I just wanted to confirm that they checked out okay. And that they replied, and they said, "Oh, I tripped. I hit my face off of the granite countertop in the bathroom. I'm bleeding everywhere, and I broke my teeth. And don't worry, I fixed the granite countertop." So at this point, I was kind of obviously quite concerned. So, the cleaner felt comfortable that she would go in and kind of see what was going on in there. And so there was a couple in there, and yeah, basically the whole corner of the granite countertop in the bathroom was actually broken right off.
I remember that.
And they super glued it
Oh.
back on. So yeah, and then there was blood everywhere. And these people were pretty sketchy, according to the cleaner, right? Like,
Yeah, and this was right during
Transients.
COVID.
yeah,
Like-
this was right
like-
during COVID.
Like the first week.
the first week of COVID.
This was our first taste, I
And we're
think,
like,
of that.
what
Yeah.
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really stressful because it was a turnover. So we had someone checking in at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And there's, blood everywhere. Not everywhere, but
It was like on the mirror. I saw it and like,
Yeah.
yeah.
like just kind of splattered.
Yeah. Like,
It wasn't a lot of blood, but
yeah.
Like, yeah, but I think she sent a picture of her teeth missing.
She
Is that right?
Yeah, she sent me a picture. And I didn't really know what to say because I was like, "Are you okay? Like, do you need to go to a dentist?" And then she said, "Yeah, I'm going." But yeah, she sent me a picture and her 2 front teeth were completely broken off, which was a little bit disturbing. But so yeah, so that was our first claim. And
So how did you claim that? So
the first thing that you have to do with Airbnb is you have to make sure you get everything in the Airbnb messages with the guest. Otherwise, they won't claim anything if you talk to them like separately in like a text message or phone conversation. So you have to make sure everything's written, and you have to send pictures of everything. And then the first step is you actually ask the guest to reimburse you for the damages. So I did that, and obviously the guest wasn't able to cover the cost of the damages.
what was the cost of everything?
I think the cost was like just over $1,000 because there was a bunch of towels that had blood all over them. The sheets had blood on them. And then
And you can claim those also.
yeah, you can claim all of that. So, and then as well as the granite countertop to be repaired.
And that was in the bathroom. That's why it was
Yeah.
priced a little lower, not the whole kitchen granite.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be like 3,000-4,000 for that.
Yeah.
For that, but yeah.
And the quote we got too was they can't just like replace it because they already kind of super glued it on really terribly. So they had to replace the whole granite countertop.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, in the kitchen sink.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Not the kitchen sink, the
bathroom.
the bathroom. Yeah.
So yeah, and then at that point you just kind of deal with Airbnb, you let them know the situation, and then pretty much no problems with that claim at all. They just send you a check and reimburse you for it. So that wasn't too bad. But
But they don't send you a check. They just
do
they-
it through PayPal
yeah,
or
they do-
something. Yeah, they do it through PayPal. But,
yeah, I remember that. That was I was like, I don't want to deal with this right now.
Yeah, that was a that was a little
you deal with it.
stressful. Especially just because it was a turnover, and you know you don't want to cancel the next guest, but obviously you want to make sure that it's clean and taken care of. And you know the guest was checking out late anyways because she was dealing with her broken teeth. So
Totally.
you know, so
yeah.
it's kind of, and then what the cleaner wasn't really comfortable cleaning it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she left, right?
Yeah, she left. So here we are, maybe like 12, 1 o'clock. The cleaner left. We have someone checking in a few hours. There's blood.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. But we got it. We figured it out. We got another cleaner who, you know,
Sorted it out.
Yeah.
was able to do it. And the next guest didn't know anything that happened. So
Yeah, it was all cleaned and all done and sanitized by then.
yeah,
So-
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something people are not comfortable with if they don't know, right? Because a lot of conversations we have with people about Airbnbs, they say like, "Oh, what happens if they damage, or what happens if they do this?" And yeah, Airbnb does claim it, right? Does the claim?
You do have to be really diligent though. Like you have to know about the damages and like report it right away before another guest checks in, or like, oh, definitely before another guest checks in. So
Yeah, you can't do a claim after. and
Yeah.
then- yeah.
Yeah, because we ran into that problem as well, where we didn't really know the full extent of the damage from one guest until after the next guest checked in, and then that's when we had some problems claiming through Airbnb. So I would say it's just really important to be diligent, like checking the unit after each guest, just making sure everything's okay.
And having a good cleaner.
Yeah, that's huge. I would say that's like one of the number one things if you're going to get into Airbnb business. Have a reliable cleaner who like you can trust, and you know, I think that's huge.
Yeah, have like 4 reliable ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the cleaner isn't just the cleaner. She's essentially, he or she, or whatever company, they're reporting to you
The condition.
the condition and everything that's happened to the unit, right?
Yeah. They're also keeping track of like inventory of supplies and just like checking the unit and make sure that there's no new damages. And they just kind of report back to us.
Yeah, that's another thing people oversee is when you do an Airbnb, we didn't notice this, we didn't realize this, but you're essentially supplying the unit with all the household items, right? And that's another cost that you guys have to consider if you are considering doing Airbnb, is the toilet paper, the shampoo, the
The salt,
The salt.
Oh, yeah.
the coffee.
The coffee, you know, we get messages saying like, "Hey, where's the salt?" We're like, "Oh my god, are we gonna go buy salt?" You know,
Or a peeler, you know.
oh yeah, peeler, or a wine,
A wine opener.
wine
Yeah.
opener, right? Things like that. Yeah, cost to furnish the condo. What would you say, Dave, is the relative cost to furnish a one bedroom Airbnb that we've
I think what we've priced it down to is anywhere between like 2,000 to 3,000 just to get it fully furnished and fully supplied with all like the household items and the what do you call it, consumables that are in the units. So yeah, it's about like 2,000 to 3,000 just to get it going.
Yeah, and those are what I would say is the standard. If you want to stand out, which you do now, because there's so many Airbnbs, you do need to spend more money,
Yeah,
and that's what we had to do.
yeah,
Because when we first started, our Airbnbs were, you know, they were standard. I would say, nothing.
yeah. They're pretty basic. They didn't have any decor. So like what we did was when we realized that we weren't getting as many bookings and we started looking at what was out there in the market, we had to spend like an extra $500 just like decoring everything and making them look nice and like kind of adding
Like staging them.
yeah, exactly. Like it was
Yeah.
like full on staging and almost more of like a homely feminine touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Definitely have to spend more on the staging.
Yeah.
I would say it's worth it. $500 to $1,000 on a nicer painting.
yeah, like
That's
art,
art.
plants, like fake plants, like just some nice furniture and like household items.
But we were actually able to budget a lot because Mel actually went around to like Value Village and like thrift stores to find used items.
Yeah, vintage things.
Yeah.
So those are a way to help make it look nicer without spending too much.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Because the Dollarama has a lot of nice stuff
Yeah,
Random
they
stuff.
do.
Yeah.
that looks good in the photos. It might not be.
When you touch it.
Yeah.
It might not be quality, but it looks
Yeah.
alright.
It looks good in the photos, and
Yeah,
that's all that
yeah.
matters, right? They come in and they're like, "Oh wow."
Yeah, the Dollarama is a good place to get a lot of the basic items that you need, and then, like especially in the kitchen, like there's so many little items in the kitchen, and you can get a lot of those for like, I don't know, pretty cheap.
Yeah, very cheap.
Yeah. It's funny because when you go to Dollarama, you have like a full cart of all this stuff, right, for Airbnb. And then you go to like pay and it's like literally a full shopping cart and they're like, oh, $30.
Yeah.
So I recommend it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good options, especially like HomeSense. Like me and Jason spent quite a bit of time just looking for art
Oh
and
yeah.
decor at HomeSense, like lamps and stuff like that. Just like a whole day, just like us two looking at decor.
You guys did a really good job, though. I was really impressed with that. That was
That
with
one.
the waterfront one, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Waterfront looks good.
It does. Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys did a really good job on it.
The Riverfront Oasis.
Yes. Good name, too. Good name.
That's another thing.
The title. Yeah.
Yeah, the title is a huge, what do you call it? Hook.
Yeah, it's a good hook to get people in. Just
Yeah.
to when they read it, they're like, "Ooh, it's bougie."
Oasis.
Yeah. So we let's try to remember. We had Riverfront Oasis.
Yeah.
What were the other few?
Oh, we had a luxurious Aspen retreat close to the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
That one's good. Mine was a modern art inspired condo or something like that with 32nd floor views.
That one
Yeah.
was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I picked one. It was just like modern two bedroom, two bath,
Two bedroom, two bath.
two bath.
BMO.
BMO, close to BMO, Stampede. I have no creativity in
Really
that.
paint a picture for them.
But yeah, those definitely make an impact for sure with the booking.
And really good photos.
Oh yeah, you need. Man, I wish we had before and after photos of our initial, like first and second one
At the Verve.
Airbnbs. Well, the Verve, the Waterfront, pretty much the first two we had.
Yeah. Even
Versus-
all the Aspen ones too.
Yeah, like the photos are so important and the staging, and it's like it's like black and white when you look at them, and
Yeah.
and we did get. I would say we were booked at least 90 to 95% of the month. I don't know. Would you agree? with that?
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
After we did that,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
And you're always on top of it to change the prices,
Yeah.
right? adjusting the prices pretty much every week,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Now
So-
now we actually have been booked pretty much consistently. As long as they were available, they were pretty much booked.
Yeah. Yeah, I think during COVID, we've been booked this whole time.
Yeah, pretty solid.
During COVID, too, a lot of people would quarantine there for 14 days. Right? And that helped a lot.
Yeah, and a lot of people wanted to just like have a little break, I think, from
Oh, yeah.
families or, you know. Like,
I
just
need
get
a
out of
break
their
from my
house.
family. I'm leaving. I'm coming here for a week.
I need to go somewhere quiet.
Well, we
So,
hosted that like staycation giveaway, which was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good little break for people to just not be in their home.
Yeah. What I Googled this, and I wanted to talk about this too for people that are still iffy about Airbnbs. The myths about Airbnbs. The first myth is they're going to damage my property. I think that's like the furthest from the truth,
Yeah.
right? What would you guys say about that and why?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely a myth. Out of however many guests we've hosted since January or before, I think we've had maybe like 2 incidences where there's been like any type of damage. And then, I mean, on top of that, we have a cleaner going in between each guest, right? Just to make sure everything is good. If you have a long-term renter in there, you don't know what's going on. You don't know, you know, they could be damaging it as well, and you wouldn't know until the walkthrough.
Yeah. I definitely think that the Airbnbs, they're well kept just because the amount of people that are coming in and the amount of times that the cleaners are coming in as well. And like the people are there such short term that it's really hard for them to do a lot of damage compared to a long-term renter that's in there for a year. You know, they're using the house every day and more frequently, so the chances of damage are a lot higher with a long-term rental compared to a short-term rental.
Yeah, and even with the short-term rentals, some people don't even like. It doesn't even look like someone stayed there. They've kept it so clean,
Yeah.
and just getting that clean pretty much at least once or twice a month, a minimum. I mean, you're having a professional cleaner go in there and clean it.
And they clean everything too. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just like a surface clean, you know, they go into every corner, they clean out the drawers, they clean out, you know,
The fridge.
yeah, everything. So it's like a really, really thorough clean that they do. It's not just like, you know, a wipe up here. It's top to bottom pretty much every time.
Yeah. And like if you don't have a good clean, then like the reviews will reflect it as well.
100%.
So it's always about like how people are going to see it, because if like a bad review could damage the Airbnb, so it's really important to have like really deep, thorough cleans.
Yeah, and that's why the cleaner is actually such a important part of Airbnb. Such a critical job there because as an Airbnb host, you don't even see the condos. Like you don't even go there.
Sometimes, yeah.
You don't need to go there as much as the cleaner, right? You're just organizing it. So definitely the cleaner is like an essential part of the business,
Yeah.
I would agree.
right?
Yeah, very important.
And so to say that that it is the biggest myth that the house is gonna get wear and tear easier and faster than it would long term. I think that's, from our experience, I think that's not true at all. I think it's actually they keep it nicer for sure, and I think you guys all agree on that. Another myth is parties. Everyone's scared that they're having parties. I think this is true and not true. It's okay to have parties, and you know, it doesn't. We've had guests that's had parties,
Oh yeah,
right?
100%. Well, we've had a complaint at one, but I mean, it wasn't like
It's just a complaint.
Yeah.
And then once you let them know, then it's done. And so I feel with parties, yes, there is parties, but you're able to control it if it gets out of hand. And so
it's not like a huge like rage or something like that with like 100 people in a condo.
No, and I think that's probably...
That was only us at one time. At our own.
We had our own Airbnb.
For your birthday.
Yeah. But, you know, I guess...
I was joking about what... Oh, yeah. We had some people over for your birthday.
Yeah, the Verve.
Yeah. But that wasn't even that many. That was like 10, 20 people.
Yeah. And we didn't get any complaints, so...
No.
It just depends, I guess, on your neighbors and I guess how loud the people are being.
So, parties, yes, there is parties.
But not as bad as you would think.
Yeah, it's not like what you heard about the news where, I mean, I think that's a rare case. I heard like this guy threw $1 million, had $1 million in damages or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
he had
wow.
like a crazy like orgy or something.
I wasn't gonna say that,
no,
but
I
yeah,
didn't hear
Dave said, it was like a sex party or something, right?
Yeah.
Is this in Calgary or?
Yeah.
I think it was in Calgary.
It was
right?
like when Airbnb first got here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess that's one of the downsides about having a house as opposed to a condo, because I'm sure more people would want to throw a party at a house.
But with the houses too, you could put your cameras there. There's cameras.
Yeah.
You could put
Not
them-
on the inside?
Not on the inside.
Yeah, but
On
on
the
the outside. Well,
And
yeah,
you
not
have
in
to
the
disclose
not in the
it.
bedroom. Obviously.
Yeah, you just have to disclose that there's cameras outside so you can
Yes.
kind of monitor it. But
I feel like that will discourage a lot of renters, guests to have parties.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
especially with
see-
outdoor cameras. Yeah.
Exactly, because you're allowed to have outdoor cameras
Yeah,
for
you
safety
are.
purposes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, especially the property's been like vacant. So
I think, yeah. And you just have to disclose it on Airbnb.
Yeah. Airbnb, everyone is talking about, is it profitable? What do you guys have to say about that?
I think it's definitely profitable, but you can't look at it on a month-to-month base just because there's like high and low seasons in the month, right? So you have to base it on an annual basis, just because like you're gonna get peak times during summer, stampede, all that stuff, and then like come October to like February, you get a lot less bookings. So they just kind of balance themselves off. But it's definitely as profitable if your costs are low. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think so too. And it depends on how much your lease is and how much you're actually monitoring your unit and what you price it at. There's some months where you've lost, and not that much.
A couple $100, yeah.
A couple $100, right?
After paying
the lease,
Yeah. Utilities,
the management, internet, all the
cleans.
miscellaneous things, right? Yeah, like we've lost some months, but we also knew how good it was for July, August, September, October,
Yeah.
pretty much April, March to October. I would say you're
Yeah. You lose a little bit in like December, like after December, like during Christmas time to about March, but then you gain it all back.
And I can't even say that you lose 100% guaranteed, because some people book for that whole month randomly. It's so random, right? So if you get lucky, someone might book all of December,
Yeah.
and you might break even, depending on what you negotiate it with, right? So, or you could lose, or you could profit.
It just really depends. It's the luck of the draw, I guess.
It is profitable, I think, and you can lose money also on some months. During Stampede though, July, I mean, that should cover a lot of your losses.
It should, yeah.
Right? Because I mean, you look at the numbers, $300 to $400 a night during Stampede, and if it's fully booked, that's $3,000 to $4,000 just on 10 days, right? So definitely you got to look at it annually, and I think the more Airbnbs you have, the more it will be balanced on the losses. Because when we had 6, some units
perform better.
Yeah. And some units lost, so it like kind of balanced each other out, right? But then when like both units are doing good, it's like,
Yeah.
it's good, right?
And the thing too is that we're all constantly like watching that. We check how we run performers on all the units every month just to see how they're doing, and then we check to see how we can optimize them and get them doing better.
How would you say managing the Airbnbs are? Because essentially what me and Dave do is we get these up and running. And what I mean by that is we get these places,
Furnish them. Yeah.
That takes about at least a week. Get the photos, pretty much get it ready for Airbnb.
Yeah, we get it. Once we get it live, then that's when we pass it off to Mel to manage.
Yeah, and then Mel does all the managing. What would you say, what does it take to manage? And do you find it like it's a full-time job?
Yeah, like walk us in a day in the life of Mel doing Airbnb managements.
I would say that it's definitely not a full-time job. It's something you can do pretty casually, but when something needs your attention, it needs your attention right then. And it's of the utmost importance because you definitely want to get a good review. So you want to have really high customer service. But I would say that it's pretty good. Like it's pretty fun to do because you're just really interacting with guests, making sure that they're okay, make sure they check in okay. And then the other part of it is just organizing everything with the cleaner. So I would say that I'm like in contact with the cleaner, like especially when we had all of our units operating, like at least every day I would be in conversation with the cleaner and just making sure everything's good with them. They have everything they need, and that's pretty much it. It changed a little bit because one of our buildings, they upped the security because I used to just let the guests in remotely. And now at the Verve, we have to meet the guests there. So that kind of changed everything. And like that changed the whole way we operated as well, because I'm not going to meet people at 1 a.m. like I did that one time.
Yeah.
Just because, you have to be clear when the people are checking in. And so it definitely changes it, like driving there, meeting them, giving them the key, and like letting them in the building.
So would you say like someone working 9 to 5 could also do Airbnb management?
No. Well, depends if they're able to like leave their job if something needs their attention, because you do have to be like available. So if you're not able to like pretty much drop what you're doing on a dime and like deal with the situation, then I would say it's a little bit hard to manage it, because things do happen like all the time. Any hours of the day, things can happen. So I think that it would be hard having a 9 to 5 to manage it. Unless like, you had one unit and you were very specific with like the check-in and check-out times, or you maybe did it a little bit longer term, like minimum like a week stay or something like that, maybe.
Got it.
Yeah.
I find that the technology really helped our stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Like some of the technologies that we use is just such a saving grace.
Oh yeah, like the
for time.
August lock.
Yeah. Just
That was a game changer.
Yes.
And even having the tools that we have in real estate, like our Sentry lockbox on site.
Yeah, just in case.
Right.
It's really
for
important.
keys. And like, just how we set it up is very streamlined. Like the process of it is pretty solid now.
Yeah, the August lock is really, really cool because like you can just literally do everything remotely, let them into the unit remotely. And then it's kind of nice too because you can see when the door is like locked and unlocked, and you can kind of like monitor the unit in like a non-creepy way. Like,
Well, that's how we knew a lot of our guests were up to no good, right?
Yeah, if the door is unlocking and locking every hour until 6 a.m.
Yeah.
You kind of wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
What are they doing? You know?
Yeah. And yeah, that was pretty funny.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about with Airbnbs? I feel like we've covered a lot here, a lot of ground.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, if you're thinking about doing it, I think you just really need to know your numbers and see if it's actually worth your while, and if the property is in a good location.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, location is good. Definitely, I think anywhere downtown would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Know your numbers and be okay with losing monthly. Because I know for me at the beginning, I was watching that shit every day, stressing the hell out. Like, oh my god, we got no bookings. And you know what happened? We always got bookings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, next week we have, like, the first week would be booked, and I'm like, oh my god, the whole rest of the month's empty.
People last minute book
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I don't even look at it. I don't even care. It will come, right? And I think that's, even with the people we manage too, I was setting that expectation. I'm like, don't worry.
Yeah, don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
Totally.
You know? And he's like, no one's booking though. Should we drop it the price? I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, just trust me. You
Yeah.
don't need to. Yeah, it always gets booked, right? So, yeah, I would say don't stress about it too much at the beginning. Stage it very good. Put some money into it.
Do the extra touches.
Do the extra touches.
Have a guidebook for them. You know.
Guidebook, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely find a good management. So Mel does an excellent job managing them. I think that's very critical. Finding an excellent management, and I'm not just saying that because you're my fiance, but we don't worry about Airbnbs at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even think about
I don't
it.
even look at them anymore. Yeah, I don't even think about it after they get set up.
Yeah.
Right. You said finding a good cleaner.
Yeah, I would say that's up there for one of the most important things.
We've gone through, I don't know, 3-4 cleaners. We recommend just, I would say, always be looking for cleaners.
Yeah, have
Yeah.
a portfolio.
Always have a backup just
Yeah.
in case something does happen.
Or 3.
Yeah, or 3.
Or 4.
Yeah.
I mean, when we, because when we had I don't even know how much we had, 6 or 7 running it. You need backup cleaners.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes it's last minute. Someone,
Or they overlap.
over the lap or so. You need to be very organized, and that's what Mel was doing. So yeah, I definitely say organized with that. So I don't know. Is there anything else?
I think that we covered pretty much everything, the whole process. I think it's anyone who's looking to do Airbnbs. I think it's growing for sure. There's been so many new Airbnbs coming up. So I think people do see the appeal of it. But you definitely just got to make sure that you do your due diligence in those areas that we talked about. But I think it's a pretty good business.
I think so. I think once COVID passes, I think we're moving all back to Airbnbs.
Yeah. We had like so many lined up, and now it's just like, all right, let's hold off
Put
for
it on
now.
hold.
Well, we're like, should we keep going? And I remember that month, March, February, March, May, April. We're like, okay, we might do it. But then, our tenants, I asked them to stay longer.
Yeah, same.
And they did, thank God. And yeah, we had to switch them all to long term, right? But definitely, I think if you haven't tried Airbnb, definitely try it out. You'll get more on your rental rate than you would on your long term rental rate most months. And yeah, I definitely am pro Airbnb. So I think that's it then. How was your first podcast there, Mel?
It was good. I guess we'll have to hear it and see how it turns out, but I think it was good.
I think it's
Good content.